This is the Luna Optics LN-G3-RS50 LRF, a digital night vision and daytime rifle scope that basically gives you a cheat mode when it comes to zeroing at various distances. More on that after this. Before we get into the specs of what I'll nickname the LRF, let me show you what all comes in the box. There is a nice outer box showing you what is inside, and the first thing that we're greeted with is an instructional manual which will be extremely helpful in getting you familiar with your device. This may not seem like a big deal, but I've read many instruction manuals that are often written overseas by someone with English as their second language, and I can tell that this was written by a native English speaker and writer. It's very clear and concise in the instructions that it gives. Everything is packaged nicely in a soft shell case, which is unbranded and has a nice nylon construction, and voila, here is the LRF scope in full. Now also included is a Picatinny mounting rail with quick release double locking mechanisms. There is a coiled USB to micro USB charging cable, which can be hooked up to an external power bank of 5 volts, 2 amps. However, this device does not use a battery and power bank simultaneously, so you cannot charge the batteries installed using an external power source. Also, you want to ensure that the voltage of the power bank does not exceed 5 volts or you will damage the internal electronics of the scope. There is a microfiber cleaning cloth for your lens and a micro USB port adapter device. And lastly, there is a micro HDMI to full HDMI cable included, which is helpful for streaming to a computer or an external monitor. The rifle scope is geared towards rimfire and centerfire cartridges that have a recoil energy force of under 18.5 foot-pounds, which is a large number of calibers. The owner's manual has a full list of all acceptable cartridges that can be used with this scope, and it's quite an impressive and extensive list, so feel free to pause the video to see the full list in details. Getting into the specs of the LRF, this device has a 50mm f1 multi-coated glass lens that has 10 degrees of angular field of view. There's a magnification of 6x to 36x with digital zoom distances in increments of 3s, giving you also 9x, 12x, 15x, 18x, 21x, 24x, 27x, 30x, and 36x options. There is a built-in laser rangefinder that can detect objects up to 700 meters, which is about 763 yards, and you do also have the option to display that distance in yards or in meters. And being a digital optic, the device is powered by 2 CR1238 batteries that are installed on the side of the device and give about 3 hours of continued use before needing to be replaced. The battery life can be extended or shortened depending on the amount of use of the built-in IR illuminator and your screen brightness settings. I'm quite impressed by the 0.38-inch Full HD AMOLED screen with quad pixel display that gives you various resolution settings in 30 and 60 frames per second in Full HD, and you also have access to 30 frame rates in Full HD, 3M HD, QHD, and Standard HD. You can record both photo and video using this scope, choosing from one of the video qualities of preference, or simply take high-quality 16.1 megapixel photos in a resolution size of 5360 by 3008 pixels. This can be stored on the 8GB micro SD card, which is included and already installed on the side port. However, you can upgrade to a micro SD card of up to 128GB. The imaging sensor used for this full color device is a 2560 by 1440 Quad HD CMOS sensor that has a sensitivity rating of 0.002 lux. Paired up with its built-in 1W 850nm IR illuminator, you have a fully capable device in light or in dark. There are 3 IR brightness settings, and you can select between daytime color, black and white monochrome, phosphor green night vision effect, white phosphor night vision effect, and an amber color option, which can help in various environments to give you the best visual experience for target detection. The device measures at 8.9 inches long by 2.8 inches wide and 3.7 inches tall. It does weigh a bit at around 1 pound 10 ounces or 748 grams. That's by itself, and when you include the mounting rail, it totals at just under 2 pounds or 893 grams. This does add noticeable weight to your rifle setup, but as is the case with most scoped rifles, it's likely you'll be using some sort of mount or stabilizing bipods to give the most accuracy when firing the rifle anyway. The scope is made from an all-aluminum housing with soft-touch silicone buttons and silicone rubber eye cup that assists with excellent long-term eye relief. There is a rubber dust cover on the side of the device that, when lifted, exposes the side micro HDMI port, the micro USB port, and the micro SD card slot. The cover helps keep dust and moisture out of the side ports, which also helps give the scope its IPX6 weather-resistant rating. The IPX6 rating means that the device can withstand power jets of water from any direction but cannot be submerged in water. So for rain, snow, dust, that paired with operating temperatures that range from 14 degrees to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, it is a rugged outdoor all-weather device. There is a removable pick rail mount on the top of the unit, but I personally don't like stacking optics and items too high on my rifle builds, so if I was going to place anything on here, it would likely be a small infrared laser or a 940 nm IR illuminator, but instead I've opted to remove it. The screw-down function for the battery housing gives you a watertight seal around the two CR123A batteries, and the slotted grid texture on the front focus ring has a nice resistance to help in giving precision focus on your target. The rear focus ring near the eye cup is also easy to actuate and allows you to set the focus of the viewing screen. A helpful feature if you are wearing glasses. Now lastly, I did want to point out the removable front lens cover that is a daylight color filter to be used in daylight and that should be removed when using the scope in the dark. Now let's get into the options for this scope. There are 5 different reticle styles that you can choose from, and you can also turn the reticle off completely in case you wanted to use the device as a monocular scope instead for recording or photo taking out in the wild. I like the first reticle option, which is what you'll see me use, and there are 7 colors you can choose from for the reticle: white, red, green, yellow, orange, blue, and black. These colors allow you to select the best option depending on the environment that you'll be aiming within or will have as a backdrop for the best visibility and contrast on your target. The reticle adjustment feature is where this scope really makes target shooting a breeze. You essentially aim the crosshairs on your target, shoot a quick grouping, then using the device you place the crosshair back on your initial aim point, you freeze the camera, and you manually adjust your X and Y access points to line the X over the bullet holes. Effectively, this is digitally adjusting your elevation and windage to that distance, but the coolest part is you can save this up to 5 times, so for example you could have one saved at 50 yards, one at 100 yards, and so on, giving you quick on-site target accuracy for various distances. One tip I can share is when you're doing this, to not be zoomed in to the higher magnifications, as it will overcompensate to that distance, so when you shoot at a lower magnification, your bullet impact will be much further off than the crosshairs on the screen. There is also a ranging mode which will allow you to choose between automatic ranging or manual ranging. It has a minimum distance of 10.9 yards or 10 meters, and you can choose between displaying the distance in yards or meters. I like the manual mode as you can select it when you're wanting to get the range on a target as needed. Okay, so how does it actually perform? Well, I was not able to get out to my friend's ranch yet, so I could not do some real-world application as far as clearing out pests like coyotes and wild javelinas, but that will be a video that I plan to make down the road, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Now that said, I was able to get you some footage of this in the daytime as well as at night using the different color modes, and I was able to get out to a local range and sight this in for some target practice at 100 yards. With the right ammo and barrel length, I could see you being very easily able to get this dialed in for some very tight groupings. In my case, I went out to the range with this mounted to a 16-inch barrel 223 Wild AR-15 with a 1-in-9 twist rate and some basic 55 grain ball ammo. After getting it zeroed in well enough, I was able to get on target at 100 yards no problem. I like to use VTAC targets as it represents a life-size human silhouette to practice on. I set my rifle down onto a bag for some slow single shots, Then I wanted to see how good this would be with rapid follow-up shots while actually shouldering and gripping the front of the rifle for recoil management. I was really pleased with the results. Obviously this isn't giving me quarter-size groupings, but I was able to effectively use this on a life-size target, and the scope handled the recoil just fine from the 5.56 ammo that I was using. The only real drawback that I can think of with this device is going to come down to the battery life and obviously the weight of it. I had used the CR123A batteries for quite a bit prior to getting out to the range, and I did in fact have to replace the batteries while out there. So it is an absolute must to have extra batteries with you anytime you plan to use this device, just in case. The view is clear, there is zero lag with the unit, and having a range of reticle styles, colors, and overall color palettes to choose from make this one of my favorite scopes that I've used to date. The quick reticle adjustment feature makes adjustments to various distances super simple and really was like having a cheat mode for this rifle setup. For the price, I think it's a phenomenal scope, and if you want to learn more and pick one up for yourself, I put a link in the comments and description for you to use. If you would like to help my channel out, please consider dropping a like and sharing this video with others. I really appreciate the support, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next one. Take care.